I think Educating Rita deals with really common social issues that are still being discussed today. Particularly, I think there was one that was Rita's approach to materialism that I think is really important, and she talks a lot about how we use our technologies and our trends and how we look at those social movements and use that to cover a lot of the deeper discussions that we really need to have about ourselves and about the world beyond what we have.
Freedom to choose, education, the human condition. The human condition is something that will never change, and like Shakespeare, I think Russell has put his finger on the pulse, and I think it will still be relevant in 100 years' time.
The moment I started reading the script and really getting into understanding what it is that she was struggling for, the more I realised that it was the same journey that I have lived as a young woman, particularly with realising that it's difficult sometimes to deal with the expectations that society has of you and the things that you want out of life, and realising that you don't always have the choices that you want.
I identify with Frank on a number of levels. At first reading, he reminds me of my thirst for knowledge, my thirst for literature and wanting to better myself. He reminds me a lot of my father, in that my father was an alcoholic and he was also very literate and very intelligent. He reminds me of my first acting teacher as well. Like Frank, he was driven, he was a guru, he was educating students, but he was flawed as well. So I relate to Frank on a number of levels. They say as a writer you need to write from what you know. So Russell writes about Rita being a hairdresser, he writes about Frank being an English professor. I think the themes of freedom, education, literature, thirst for knowledge are all timeless, and it will never change.
Because it's so real, because it's dealing with those themes that are so universal, it's consistently relevant. And so whenever an audience will come to hear Russ's work, it's always something that they can find accessible, as well as something that is relevant to them and consistently relevant to them.
This project is special to me because I get the chance to work with a young lady by the name of Lauren. When I was first asked to do it, I did have to think and thought, can I commit the time? But then I thought about the person who asked me, and I thought, I believe in this person, I believe this person has a big future. I thought it's important to contribute to the local theatre scene, and I thought, how often do you get asked to play Frank in Educating Rita?
I first saw it when I was about 16, and there's this fantastic scene in the middle of the film, which they do quite differently to how it is done in the play, in which Rita actually experiences the fact that the people around her and the life that she's been living is really beneath the expectation that she has for her life and for those people that she loves. And at 16, that really struck a chord with me, and so I'm really looking forward to bringing that moment and that concept within this story to audiences in Adelaide, and I'm just really looking forward to sharing that with other people.